Well, hello, and welcome back to your virtual tea time. My name is Tori, and it hasn't been long, but it's still necessary to have Will Armijo back in the podcast. Hi, Will.
Hi, thank you.
So here's the thing. We recorded an episode a little over a month ago. It aired, big hit, but I went to find you, and you had dis-fucking-peered. Where did you go? What happened to your Instagram handle?
Yeah, so Instagram kidnapped me, put me in a dark room, and they just left my account gone for almost 7 weeks. Completely disappeared.
And there was no resolution to it?
No.
No reasoning?
No, and I have a lot of friends that are big in social media, and they have people that get your accounts back. And they had even told my friends, like, the first thing they asked is they're like, what kind of content does this guy post? Is it like super controversial because we can't get this account back? And it's like, no, all I post is health stuff. I don't even like, so they couldn't get it back. Like the people that get them back could not get it back. So I was already planning a new page, new photos,
what can you
new
do?
everything.
You have to,
And then week 7, I get an email from Instagram apologizing for deleting my account. They made a mistake and they gave it back to me. It was originally because they had said I was a fake account.
Which that's interesting because everything on your page is really individualized. And
Yeah, and I've had people report fake accounts of mine and they never got taken down. But somehow mine did. I don't know. There could be a conspiracy theory there. Not sure.
Well, we'll see. IG can be ruthless at times, can't it? I mean, Okay, so another thing is that we are set to golf in about 10 days. So on average, we have 10 days until we play. Like how many times are you going to go to the range and hit some balls, get prepared?
Yeah,
it's a big match.
Yeah, I have like a 3-to-1 ratio.
Okay.
So for every time I go to the range, I go practice my drinking skills 3 times to make sure that I can last the whole 18 without getting sloppy.
And being as focused as possible.
As focused as possible. I will probably play twice, I'm hoping, before then.
Good.
That's my plan.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten spoiled in Arizona with weather. So let's hope that continues. Because a year ago, we were already in the tundra of winter. It was super cold all last winter, and we have been spoiled with nice warm weather this year.
Yeah. The last time I played was, my big time before. This was probably 2 weeks ago. I got to play at TPC Stadium with all the stands up, and we each had our own caddy.
Nice.
And I have a whole opinion on that, but...
Well, dive into it. What's your opinion on caddies?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so this is my second time ever in my life having a caddy, okay? I didn't realize how spoiled I got the first time. My first time with a caddy was at Bandon Dunes.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is worth every dollar. They watched me at the range. They knew what clubs I hit well. They would make me put a club away and they'd be like, no, you're hitting this. They would help me line up my putts. They would talk to me, ask me about my life. We would laugh, have fun. Nope, exact opposite experience at TPC.
Really?
Exact opposite.
So tell me about it though.
So the caddies came over to the range and I was like, okay, this is exactly how I thought it was good. And this is how I built it up to everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. But then I realized they're not watching us. They're just standing in a circle having a conversation. So I was like, oh, maybe it's TPC. They're just that good.
Yeah.
So then we go and we walked the course the entire time. He did not talk. All he did was ask me what club I wanted to hit. And then about 9 of the holes, I would hit off the tee and they would start walking and I'd be carrying my driver all the way to the ball. So like they didn't even get my club. Nope. And they mislined us up on putts at least 5 times.
Well, I have to say, it's no surprise that you had such a good experience at Bandon because usually those destinations, golf courses, Bandon, Whistling Straits, Pinehurst, all those big places that you really go to just play golf there, they're usually some of the best caddies. And they make it their mission to improve your whole experience for the day. So it's no surprise that you come here to TPC, which I'm sure they have tons of caddies there, but it's still not as normal as one of those big resorts, and you got a schmuck.
Yeah, I was really shocked. And I'm sure I'm not going to call out TPC and say that all their caddies are horrible.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
I would never do that. I was just, I mean, I could usually see both sides. You know, I probably got a really good experience, but it was like, at the end of the day, the caddy was not worth it at all.
Yeah.
Zero. I would have rather just share, because you have that option too. Share a caddy and been in a cart. I would have rather have just done that with one of my friends than the way we did it. Because he paid a lot. It was for a friend's birthday.
Yeah.
So my friend covered everything. He covered all 4 rounds. It was either a Friday or a Saturday.
Oh yeah, I bet he's paying $500 a piece.
Easy. And then he covered all the drinks, all the caddies, all the rounds. When the cart girl comes, it's not just like a beer.
We are prepared and ready to go.
But the course was fun. So on 16, right? Because that's where everybody's like, oh my God, to get the photos out, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we also had a full cameraman, 2. We had 2 camera people with us.
Okay, wait. So you had 2 cameramen with you the entire round. Are you guys using that for social media or something?
So he
with YouTubers?
he has, my friend has a full-time cameraman that follows him around all day, every day. So
what?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to obviously say his name, but what does he use that footage for?
It's his personal brand. I'll say his name. His name's Anthony Williams. He's a Forex trader. Okay. So he's one of the top 3 Forex traders in the world. He's 29 years old.
What does Forex trainer mean?
Trader.
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 Oh, I thought you
so
said trader.
Forex is currency trading.
Okay.
It's just, there's day traders, stock traders. Forex is just trading currency. So he's one of the top 3 in the world. So he's got it's a lot of money. He makes a lot of money.
So he has a cameraman follow him most days, all day long.
Every day.
And he puts that footage where?
YouTube, Instagram, everything's curated. Yeah, it's all day. All his stuff is just, he's got content going all day. So we had 2 because we wanted one guy on video the whole time and one guy on photo. So we get to 16, everybody hits. One of my friends, of course, who always says he's somehow the best golfer when he's not golfing with us. Somehow he has rounds I've never heard or seen.
Yes.
And it's so straight. He's a fairway guy.
We all know one of those. Yep.
Well, so we get to 16. He's the only guy that doesn't get it on the green. He was the only one. But I was the last one to hit. So I was nervous.
Yeah.
Because I was like, damn. 2 of the guys are on the green. My partner,
and what was it, like
guy,
130 yards?
Yeah, I want to say we obviously we weren't playing from the tips. So yeah, maybe 130, 135.
I love that you said obviously we're not playing from the tips.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I won't allow it most of the time.
Good for you.
Everybody wants to do that.
That is the most impressive thing a golf guy has told me.
Yeah, every time. Play from the tips. I'm like, guys, I'm not playing from. Why are we going to play from the tips?
Yeah.
None of us consistently shoot under 80.
Yeah.
If under 85, you guys want to play from the tips, really?
Yeah.
You guys can't even keep it in the fairway and you want to play from the tips.
Oh my God, bravo. Bravo.
I want to get better at golf.
Yeah. And enjoy yourself.
And have fun. Yeah. Enjoy it.
Okay.
So I have photo evidence on my phone. I was probably 4 or 5 feet from the pin. So I got closest. The video guy did not capture it. Out of the whole day, he did not get it on film. Instead, he got my rich friend picking his nose on the side.
Jeez.
I know, but what are you going to do? It's in my memory.
Exactly.
But it's so cool hitting there with the stands up.
Is it? I've actually never played there with the stands up.
Yeah, it's like a whole different thing. And now 17's almost fully surrounded too. And now 18's like getting there.
I mean, honestly, I think 17 is the hole to be at.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I could be on 17, like right before the green, so I could see the tee box really well, but also see the green. I think that's the place to be.
That's the hole. There's water to the back left of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So my buddy, not playing from the tips.
Yeah.
He drove the green, which was I'm like, and I'm thinking about it now. I'm imagining the tournament and I'm like, this is going to be the hole to be at. Like you said,
it is.
Because people are going to be driving the green. And that is so cool because if you barely miss, there's bunkers and water everywhere.
Yeah.
That's going to be a crazy
And it's not
hole.
really an easy up and down. So say they hit a 3-wood and they're just right of the green or just in front of the green. It's not an easy up and down. That green is rough.
It's not. And I landed I was just to the left of the fairway right before the water starts, and it's like muddy and like wet, and the grass is super long, and you just want to like kick it out, but you can't.
Especially when there's cameramen. I bet he would have caught that shit.
I know.
Fucker.
So it was fun though. We had a fun round.
Good. And even with the bad caddy too. So.
Yeah, that's going to haunt me for a while.
Yeah.
But I do go back to Bandon at the end of January.
Yeah.
I'm back there.
I would say the majority of caddies I've had, I'd say well over 80% have been fantastic. So don't let that turn you the wrong way.
It's just so fun to have that guidance there when they're really good.
Yeah.
And I even asked him multiple times. I'm like, do you see anything I could like, He's like, no, you're good. Like, what?
Yeah. No, pass. Thank you. Not using you again.
I even tried to get him a shot of Fireball, loosen him up, but he wouldn't take it.
I bet that's against the rules. Every time we try to get the caddies to drink, they can't do it. Like they're scared.
Oh, Bandon, completely different story. Really? Especially with the secret hole that has a bunch of illegal stuff stashed in it.
Really?
Did you know about that hole?
No.
Oh my God. Google this. Okay. So they call it. So do you know an instructor here named Travis Wiesa? Mm-hmm. Okay. So he's one of the main instructors at McCormick. And I knew him before he went to McCormick, and he does like PGA stuff. And he's like I've sent so many people to him. He is so awesome and amazing, honestly, because he has the best personality in the world. And he makes you feel like you're Tiger Woods when you're practicing with him. So he's from Oregon. And I told him that I was going to Bandon. And he was like, dude, there's a box at whatever the course is. It's hidden behind a tree. And he's like, this is where it's at. And usually people got to know about it. It's not something, He's like, all the caddies know, but they won't say anything unless you say something first. And then most of the time they'll take you to it. So of course I'm patiently waiting the whole time I'm in Bandon. And you never know what you're going to get in this box. So the whole code, the unwritten code is if you take something, you leave something. Okay. So you open this thing up. And there are probably things in there I can't say on the podcast. Okay. But there are definitely drugs, a fifth of tequila, shooters, beers, magazines. I mean.
Do people really use magazines still?
I guess.
mean, it's free, people. It's free.
It's like like a placer thing that you got from one golf course, a little pick, tees, like anything.
I would think the thing that you'd have to leave would also be of value of what you're taking. But you're saying you can leave a fucking tea in there?
Yeah, and people leave like the weirdest. I mean, who knows? Because I mean, by the time you get to that, most likely you're pretty intoxicated by that point.
Yeah.
So who knows what kind of little party you have going on?
It's like geocaching on the golf course.
Yeah, but then I thought, like, how did somebody get a fifth of tequila in here? Yeah. There's a bottle in there. Like,
wow.
And then you're in Oregon, right? So there's like pre-rolled joints in there,
a lot
mushrooms.
More things are legal in Oregon.
Like, you're just like, wow, like, am I going to do this? And then, you got one speed, so you just
you're at
go for
it. What an insider tip.
Google that.
Okay.
Google it.
Like Google box at
Google
Bandon?
hidden box at Bandon Dunes.
I love that. Okay. Good story. So we're going to get into some energy hacks to take with you for 2024. Because again, we want to be our best golfer in 2024. We want to put the effort in. And so we need anything that will give us an edge. But before we get into that, do you have a desire to become a better golfer?
1,000%.
So what kind of level are you at? Like, are you willing to practice? Are you willing to start competing? Where are you at right now?
I'm at that level where I'm not super consistent with my practicing because right now business and the stuff I'm doing always takes priority. But when I do play and I do practice, I'm very intentional. Yeah. I'm very intentional. I watch a lot of videos. I try to watch videos that are very relatable to the things I need to fix because I think you could go down a whole rabbit hole of corrective videos on everything. Yeah. So I feel like right now I'm pretty consistent in my game. I still have my flaws, obviously, but I think in the next year to 2 years, I'll start taking it a lot more seriously. I think my big goal is like consistently being around 80. If I could consistently be around 80 and be breaking 80, I would be very happy. Yeah. That's where I'm
totally attainable. You were in fitness, right? You did fitness competitions. You still are? Or are you still doing that?
No, I probably won't compete again, but I did. I competed 9 times in the NPC bodybuilding world.
Yeah, because I was going to ask if you're still doing that. There's not a lot of time for golf and vice versa. Okay, so you're moving on to a new chapter.
Yeah, but I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. I'm still on my first set of clubs that have lasted me a very long time.
We're going to get you fitted. I know exactly who we're going to send you to.
Yeah.
Okay, the best.
Did I tell you about my fitting story with my first set of clubs?
Okay. Let me have it.
So here's what happened.
So you did get fitted for your first set of clubs. Okay, good.
So I had no clubs, went to an instructor. They handed me a 7-iron. They said, you're going to get good at this first before you even touch other clubs, before you play.
Okay.
You need 7 irons, we can work on your mechanics. I still have it a little bit just on my driver, not on my irons, a little over the top movement, right? Especially coming from baseball. I played baseball my whole life. So I wanted to correct that. I didn't want to go in with a lot of bad habits. Then I go to get clubs, right? So I get fitted, the whole thing. Well, I know nothing about clubs, right?
Yeah.
So I get this set of clubs. They look so pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And I start playing with people and they're like, damn, didn't you just say you just started? I'm like, yeah, why? They're like, oh, those are blades. You're playing with blades? I'm like, what are blades? What? So I have like I don't even, it's the Ping, I think they're like I-900s or I-500s or something.
Yeah, probably something like that.
And they're like full on blades.
Yeah, which are extremely difficult to hit.
So difficult.
Like that's for the best in the world.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm like pretty decent at them. I'm pretty consistent now, but I do have those times where like I'll hit the ball and it'll go like 40 yards shorter than it's supposed to go. I'm like, what happened? And you just miss by a little bit.
Yeah, because your sweet spot is minute.
Yeah. So it's like in baseball playing with a metal bat versus a wood bat. It's the same kind of concept. So yeah, so I started with blades, still have them. Can't get rid of them.
Golf is going to become so much easier once we get you fitted again.
I know.
I'm going to keep hounding you about that. Just be prepared.
And then on the shaft of my driver, so somebody gave me this driver head and I still use it. I probably need to get a new one. But the shaft they fitted me with is a Tour X Stiff shaft.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess that's
that.
okay.
Yeah.
So that might be fine. But I just realized like, probably because they wanted to make money off of, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it was.
They might have wanted to sell you the most expensive, but I mean, I've had super, super firm shafts before, and it was just helped me not hook the ball. So it just helped with that.
Yeah.
So you just never know why they put you in certain things, you know? And sometimes it's just a Band-Aid for a certain amount of time. But okay, yep, I'm going to stay on you about that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Become easier. So.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right, let's get into some energy hacks.
All right. Energy hacks. So I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is around the food choices that they make around golfing, right? Whether it's before golf or whether it's during golf. So energy, it really isn't about what can I do to get more energy. It's really about what am I doing that's causing me to have crashes or no energy.
See, and I think that even just that statement is like switches for me. Like, yes, we are constantly trying to grab caffeine, grab energy drinks, grab pre-workout to get that energy. But the question really is what is causing you to not have energy? Right,
exactly. So that's where it really starts. And like, just to simplify everything, and I know this is a very obvious thing, but it is by far the most impactful, is your sleep. Sleep is 100%. And people might go, oh, well, I get enough sleep, but are you really getting the sleep during that time? So like what I recommend people, and I've seen this product used and I am not endorsed by them at all, is the Oura ring. Have you ever heard of the Oura ring?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's going to show you when you're coming in and out of sleep. If you're getting quality deep sleep, you could do things like changing your pillows, keeping the room colder, getting a heavier blanket. All those things help you sleep better. And energy is completely different the next day when you have super high quality sleep. Like that's a game changer. I'd be like, before a round, I have to have good sleep the night before.
Yeah.
And then when you're with your friends or there's people in town, what do you do? What does everybody do? Not after golf, the night before golf.
They party.
They party.
Yeah.
They party. That has such a big effect on your game. Has to.
Yeah. Okay. So with sleep, you named a couple things: colder room, different pillows, heavier blanket, anything else to really help us get the best sleep possible that you can think of?
If you could get a device like the Oura Ring and track it, here's what it does for you. It gamifies it, right? So we as humans, we're addicted to this gamification of everything. So it gamifies it for you. So it like makes you excited to want to get better sleep. Because we just like, we say we're going to do it, but then when it comes down to it at night, we're like, no, you know what? I'll be fine. Or we snooze through the alarm and then we do all this stuff. So my whole thing with nutrition or anything is gamifying everything. That's the only way that it keeps you like inspired and it changes your perspective to want to do it a little bit better. So with sleep, those would be my recommendations. Next would be to what you said earlier, caffeine. I am a caffeine addict. I think I said that on the last podcast. What I would really try to get people to focus on is the source of the caffeine. We talked about this on the last podcast, but I want to reiterate it because it's so important. Like, you got to look at it like this. It's no different than sugar, right? Processed sugar, you're going to get a spike, and the higher it goes, the harder you fall. You're going to have a crash. The same thing happens with energy drinks. Okay, so you have your people that are like, oh, I drink a Monster right before I drink a Red Bull, I drink this. That is synthetic caffeine. You got to look at it, and normally it comes with a bunch of sugar, which makes it worse. But I guarantee you, majority of people, if they're listening to this right now, they go, oh, well, I drink the sugar-free version, right? Most people do. Got it, that's fine. If it's chemically produced caffeine, which will read on your energy drink, it will read as caffeine mono something.
Something with a
anhydrous.
Okay.
Anhydrous. It's caffeine anhydrous. So if you read on the ingredients and it says caffeine anhydrous, spelled really weird, AHY something.
Yeah.
That is chemically produced caffeine in a lab. It's very cheap to produce from the manufacturer. It increases their margins, so they all use it. But what it also does is it causes a spike and it causes a crash. Because from a corporate or a company standpoint, if you get people to crash, you cause an addiction, right? You cause a dependency. Oh, I'm crashed. I need another one. You cause an addiction. So if you're going to drink any energy drinks, make sure they're from either green tea extract, green coffee bean, ginseng. Those are all, or coffee bean itself, those are all more natural forms of caffeine. So they might not have as much of a spike, but they also don't have as much as a crash. So they're going to be sustained longer, because the last thing you want to do is, you get on the back nine and the crash happens.
Yeah.
And then your game goes to crap.
Absolutely. Is there such thing as having it more difficult to sleep through the night as you get older?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of that comes from like a hormone perspective. When your hormones start changing, it becomes a lot more difficult. The other thing that makes it harder to get into a deep sleep is if you eat right before you go to bed.
It was like, there are a number of things that changed when I turned 40. And that was one of them. Like, I have noticed if I eat 2 hours or less before I go to sleep, I will be up in the middle of the night. I will fall asleep, but then I'll wake up in the middle of the night. So I have to be really intentional with when I stop eating relative to when I want to go to sleep.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference, because your body can't actually, it turns itself off to turn itself back on when you sleep. So your body can only actually recover when you sleep. So people will talk about like post-workout recovery and recovery drinks, recovery this. That's not entirely true. Your body will never actually fully focus on recovery until it goes to sleep. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to sleep. What would be the purpose? You'd be able to just take naps.
Yeah.
You would never need to sleep an extended period of time. It'd be like, oh, take a nap, take a nap, take a nap. I eat all the recovery foods. But your body has to sleep so it can recover tissue. It can recover. It could filter your blood better. I mean, that's why, think about it, a lot of people sweat when they sleep. What is that? That's detoxifying. That's your body healing itself. That's what it is.
So if you wake up and is sweating, does that mean it's just killing off everything you just ate or drank?
Well, there's a lot of variables there. I mean, if you have a sickness, you sweat a lot. It could be a hormone thing. But typically your body does sweat when you sleep, because that's how it detoxes itself.
Interesting. All right, on to another energy hack that you have.
So that's a good tip for caffeine. The other thing too with the caffeine stuff is it's almost like habit to want to do it before your round. But honestly, you're probably better off doing it like at the turn. So you get that boost for the second half, and and you don't experience the crash until like after. Because I mean, look, there is not one energy drink on the market that is going to sustain you at a high level for 4 hours or longer. There's just not. It doesn't exist. Does not exist. There will be a crash for sure. The other thing on that, when you're talking about energy supplements, whether it's pre-workouts or energy drinks or pills or whatever, you have to be careful doing it on an empty stomach. Now, there's obviously the obvious, right? Can make you nauseous, whatever. But for those people that are like, no, because this is how I am. If I'm on an empty stomach, I feel it so much faster, so much better. This is my experience with golf specifically. I feel great until I have to putt. And now, because everything has stopped and you're like this, you start seeing your hands.
Oh my God, that's so true.
Get a little shaky and you're like, damn it.
That's why I can't have a Starbucks before I play golf.
Right?
It is. It's all the putting.
It's in the putting every time. I notice it every time.
Yeah. And I had someone on the podcast recently that said, you basically have to find where your flow can happen. Mm-hmm. It's for a select few, that flow is when your adrenaline is up. Mm-hmm. But for most of us, it's when we're calm, adrenaline is down. And I'm more of that. For playing golf and for full focus, I need adrenaline down. I need to be walking slow. I need to not listen to super hyped up music right before I play. I need to, just stay level.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. So, and that's because people would say, well, I don't really feel it. It doesn't affect, but notice next time when you're putting.
Yeah.
If you're just a little, and that's why if you're going to do it, eat food with it. That'll help regulate like the shakiness, the jitters that caffeine can bring. Mm-hmm. And I'd also say, try to stay under 125 milligrams of caffeine at a time.
Put that into, what does that even look like?
So your average, so if you look at the back of an energy drink, it always should show the caffeine content in that drink or that pre-workout or that supplement. Mm-hmm. It's either going to say typical standard dosaging is 100, 125, 150, 200. 200 is just way too, I'm telling you 200. Nobody needs that much.
That's scary.
That's a lot. There's some out there that have 300, 250, 275.
How is that legal?
Well,
does that get someone sick or sent to the hospital?
You build a tolerance to it, right? That's
true.
what happens. And now they can't have anything less than that, or they don't feel anything. They just feel tired. Uh-huh. Then that goes back to the sleep and the nutrition and, letting your body recover. So that's on the energy drink side. On the food side, I look at it this way. Fiber and fat are going to give you more sustained energy. High glycemic carbohydrates are going to have a spike and a crash. So fat and fiber, when you think fiber, just think fruit.
Yeah.
Fruit and vegetables. I don't really ever see people out there snacking on carrots, but that'd be kind of
so
weird.
We're trying to stay realistic here.
Right. Be real, you don't need to be out there like a bell pepper,
yeah.
Just munching on a bell pepper. It's really not going to, fruit and fat.
Let's think of it as let's expand on the golf round. So let's go for a full day. Let's just say, for me personally, even, I want to get as much done during the day as possible, especially Monday through Friday. So how do we go about planning our days out that we can produce highest productivity, and really go at a steady pace throughout the day?
Yeah, with food specifically?
Yeah, just in general. Any what do you do? I'm sure you're maximizing.
Yeah, so I don't eat till I get hungry. Some people will call that intermittent fasting, whatever. I don't eat breakfast. Yeah. I start my day off with organic coffee, just black coffee.
Do you work out on an empty stomach in the morning?
If it's in the morning, yes. Okay. If I work out, I'm going to go work out after this.
Oh, so you're an afternoon worker out?
No, I hate it. I absolutely hate working out in the afternoon. It sucks. But I needed to get into the office early today and work on a bunch of projects. Yeah. And my brain is at its highest capacity in the morning.
Yes.
That's just how I work. So to me, it was either go work out, which essentially would drive time and everything's going to eat up 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? I'd rather sacrifice a little bit of my workout, the focus of it. I'd rather sacrifice that than the stuff I need to work on today.
Okay, wait, let's back up. I need to digest this a little bit because this is sometimes what I battle with is my morning hours or when I'm the most sharp, when I can get the most done. But I almost feel sometimes when I work out in the morning, it kind of uses all that good energy up. And then I'm so untrained from working out in the afternoon. I know I could get myself there, but do you think that there's truth to that? Like, do you think morning workouts do eat up some of that really good, I want to say brain power time?
Well, no, it's actually scientifically, it is brain power because your brain runs off glucose, right? Yeah. Glucose is carbs, it's carbohydrates. So when you work out in the morning, your body eats up muscle glycogen in order to move your muscles, right? Because it doesn't matter. Even if you eat before you work out, you're not really using that food for the workout. You're not. Your body takes a certain amount of time to digest carbohydrates. It takes 4 to 6 hours to digest proteins. It could take even longer to digest fats. So there's just the idea that you put food in your stomach and then it goes to your muscles to work out immediately is completely false.
Yeah.
The only thing that will actually have that effect is sugar, right? So you're not wrong in saying that, because if your brain is running off of glucose and you go work out pretty intensely and you use up all your body's, it's called stored glycogen, which is the glucose. Now your liver has to overwork to create glucose for your brain, or it's going to start pulling it from the food that you ate maybe the night before. But naturally, you're going to feel more tired and not as sharp, of course. But I look at it this way. Some people, that's their priority, like the workout and how effective and efficient that workout is. And they're sacrificing a little more maybe on their day-to-day job because they just don't really care about it that much, which I get. I've been there.
Yeah.
But then there's some people like me, I've already done all that. I've trained my whole life. So to me, I'm like, I know how to go in and get a workout in for 45 minutes and be intense as I need to be without sacrificing that.
Yeah.
Because that's how I used to be too. Like when I'd work my corporate job and I'd train early in the morning, I'd be at work like this, just all morning, just like.
Exactly.
I'm dead no matter what I eat. And now I'm living off coffee and energy drinks all day just to be normal, not even to be like high functioning.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd rather, like this morning, I got into the office at like 7 a.m. And I'm just like on fire from like 7 to 11. I'm just bang. And then you got to look at it that way too, right? Like I got done in 4 hours, would take me normally 8 hours because I was so hyper-focused. So I was able to concentrate that with no breaks. And now technically I got all my work done. Now I could go to the gym. And now the rest of my day, I could be on phone calls or I could have meetings, which don't take a super high level of concentration.
Exactly.
That's how I look at my day.
And you just work out in the afternoon now?
I try not to, but I've also gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, do I need to work out every single day? No, why? Why can't I work out 3 times a week, be hyper effective and efficient in my workouts, and now I have my other days where there's no workout and my body can recover?
So it's interesting that you have changed your mindset so much coming from a fitness competition side. Was that a tough battle?
No, not at all.
Really?
No.
So you didn't go to like super diligent, hyper focused on fitness and doing fitness shows to, I could work out 3 days a week and feel okay. There wasn't a transition where you felt guilty?
No, because I think what happens is you have to have something else that is so inspirational, motivating, that you want to spend energy and time on something that is bigger than that. It's the only way. Because otherwise you have this attachment to this life that you had, or this, because it worked and you were good at it. And it's more comfortable and easier to stay attached to that. So especially even like body dysmorphia, right? Like I've changed a lot compared to what I used to look like, right? So even with that, you have to have something that is just more important and valuable to you. And then that stuff doesn't matter. You're like, working out's not that fun. Call it what it is.
I really appreciate your honesty.
It's not. How is it that fun?
Okay, let's revisit working out in a second, but I want to expand again on this. Okay, so let's get into more of a daily routine. And most of us want to schedule our practice sessions for certain times a day, or at least try to be strategic about it. So how do we figure out when the best time of day to practice is? Does our brain need to be very sharp during these practice sessions?
So I'm going to give a really unique answer here.
Okay.
Because I'm going to answer in 2 different ways. So number one, I think it's a two-part thing, right? This is just my opinion based on all the sports I've played, nutrition, training, everything, and mindset. I would focus probably 70% of my practice rounds on when I am the sharpest so that I can better my skills. Then I would take a percentage and I would practice on times I did not want to practice when I am the most tired so that I can build that muscle. Because to me in golf, once you let those bad shots or whatever take over your round, you're screwed.
You're fucked.
Right. So to me, and that's just what I learned from playing sports. So that's why I think that's also why I have a passion for golf, because my whole life playing baseball, I was a pitcher. So as a pitcher, it's one of the only positions in any professional sport where the whole entire game is dictated on your next move. Right? Yep. Football, snap a football. Yep. Right? Basketball, as soon as it hits the court, everybody's got a job. Baseball is a pitcher in baseball is the only position where you can stand there. Well, now they have a pitch clock. But before that, the whole game is dictated on your next move, and you can move as fast or as slow as you want. So mentally, you can get in your head. So that's why I relate to golf so much, because the same thing can happen in baseball. You make one bad pitch that you, in your mind, was supposed to be perfect. And this dude hits a home run off you and you thought you did it perfect. You get rattled. You could be screwed the whole time. So I noticed that in golf. So that's why I think it is important to also practice when you don't feel like practicing, when you're not that sharp. When go practice one time when you're just dead tired and everything is going wrong that day. Now, if you can have that kind of energy and that kind of mindset and then be able to have these triggers or these checkpoints and bring yourself back into your swing, like you're going to habitually use that in a golf round. That's my perspective on it.
I like that. So when you say, I want to circle back and really talk about, again, my best hours are in the morning.
Right.
Okay. So let's just say the same 7 to 11, same as you. And then it just starts teetering off, and pretty much after 4 p.m., I'm useless. I'm like a vegetable. So should I really be prioritizing, if golf is as big of a priority for me, if becoming a better golfer is as big of a priority to me as work, should I be prioritizing those goals and hours to part of golf practice then?
100%. I mean, that's where your mornings come into, because the other reason why I like golf is because you can't perfect it. Right? So there's always something to learn in every swing you're doing. So if you just start going through the motions, how are you going to get better versus actually analyzing not overanalyzing, but analyzing everything you're doing. Right? So to me, that's all mindset. And golf can golf can be just that, because you don't have to be the biggest, fastest, strongest to be the best golfer. You don't have to do that. You have to have everything in sync. So like, you're really creating an environment of automation, right? You're trying to build subconscious movements and cues that you don't have to think about when you're playing. So in order to get there at that deep of a level, you should be doing it when your brain power is at its maximum, because you're building in subconscious habits. Sorry, I'm fascinated by this time of day thing for whatever reason. So why is it certain people, their best hours are at night? Or is there a way to make the hours of your day as sharp as the morning, like go through more of the day? Or is there a way to train yourself to have more energy late afternoon without using caffeine? Do you think? I mean, that's going to be nutrition. Okay. So here's one thing I learned when I was bodybuilding, and this was like a huge thing for me. And I wish I was able to take it into my sport before I got into bodybuilding. In bodybuilding, you go through, which is not for a normal person, you go through a bulking phase and you go through what they call a cutting phase, right? And when you're in the cutting phase, what you're doing is you're under eating the amount of calories that your body needs. That's how you lose weight fast, but you can also lose some muscle. What comes with that is extremely low energy. What was so mind-blowing to me is when you're in your bulking phase, you don't look as good and you don't feel as good, but your energy levels are through the roof. Like you're just never tired because you're over consuming food, which is also known as energy. you're over consuming. So you're never running out of. So you just feel like you have way more sustained energy. So that's why I say it does come down to your food, right? Because most people are not measuring the amount of food they're eating. You could be going to Whole Foods every day. You could be getting your groceries from Whole Foods, cooking organic, this. But if your base metabolic rate for your age and your lean muscle mass, let's say is 2,000 calories, is just your base. Like that is for you to survive.
Yeah.
Right? If you're eating all that healthy food and you're eating 1,800 calories a day, but in your brain, I'm eating the healthiest, best food, you're eating 200 calories under your base metabolic rate. So you're causing a deficiency. So now your energy levels are going to be lower. And that's why saying bodybuilding was so eye-opening to me, because you don't know what you don't know, right? You think that your energy is good energy because you don't know what you don't know. So what I would challenge people to do is, if they're constantly like chronically fatigued, one, get your hormones checked. Like, don't do this whole, I need nutrition. I need that. If you're not getting your hormones checked, get them checked, because you will never win the battle against your hormones. Yeah. I don't care. You will not win that battle.
Like, that is step one.
Step one.
You have to see what you're working with first.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because especially as a woman, like if your testosterone levels are too low, I don't care what you're doing. You will not win that battle.
Oh my gosh.
Right? And some people have too high of estrogen. Some people have too low of testosterone. So always hormones first, then sleep is 2, and then 3 is food. So if your hormones are good, you feel that your sleep is good, then what I would challenge somebody to do, even if they're eating healthy or unhealthy, track your food for a week. Just track it. Track the calories. See what you're bringing in. You will be shocked. Almost most people, especially if they're healthy, like they know they're healthy, but they're just like, I'm just dealing with energy issues and all those things checked off, you will shock yourself. You'll be like, oh my God, I'm only eating like 1,200 calories a day.
Well, I don't have that problem. I feel like you'd probably be like, okay, you're eating too much. No.
But that could also cause a dip in energy. And that's where nutrition gets that's why a lot of people don't do it, because it's hard, because every single human is bio-individual. There's no standardized way of anything. So if you're over consuming, well, now you're putting all this food in that your body can't break down and digest in time. So now it will cause you to have low energy to try to get you to stop doing things so that it can digest the food. That's why when you eat big meals, you get tired.
That makes total sense to me. Yeah. Wow.
It's that simple. It is that simple.
It's like, and we knew it was that simple, but the way you just put it was like, obviously.
Right. So for me, I do very well just eating small portions when I get hungry. Even though my mind wants to eat more, if I do it, I'm now tired for 2 hours. And I'm like, oh, I did it again. Here we go.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating.
It's frustrating.
Especially when you are the type of person that does want to get a certain amount of stuff done each day and whatever.
Yeah. You could even, because everything is gamification, right? So it's like you could eat these smaller, well-balanced portions throughout the day. And then as long as it's not too close to your sleep, have your big meal at night, just not before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Have it 3 hours before, 4 hours before you go to sleep. Have your big giant meal, because now what? You're going to get tired.
Yeah.
What a great time to get tired.
Exactly. Okay, let's wrap up with the idea of competitions. So another thing about golf is that when we play in these tournaments, most of them are 2-3 days long, and it could be mentally and physically exhausting. So how should we go into, let's even start a week out from a big competition. How should we prep our body to have the best energy throughout those 3 long days? And how can we start prepping up to a week ahead of time to ensure that?
Yep. So you want to get your muscle glycogen up very high. So if it were me, a lot of fruit. I'd be for the whole week before, I would just be eating a ton of fruit.
Really?
Yeah. Get that muscle glycogen just loaded up.
Well, tell me exactly what that's doing.
So the muscle glycogen is what your body uses to move your muscle, right? It's required. So you need like a sodium molecule, a water molecule, and you need a carbohydrate molecule to fire off what's called ATP. ATP is what causes, it's an electrical signal that causes the muscle to fire and to move. Like to do this, I need ATP. For my eyes to blink, I need it. So muscle glycogen is the energy storage unit that your body uses. It doesn't pull it from your stomach. Your stomach goes in your bloodstream, then it gets broken down from a carb to glucose to glycogen, and then it gets stored. So you would always hear these stories back in the day of like swimmers, right? Or any type of competition where the coaches would be like, eat a big bowl of pasta before your competition the next day, right?
Or like before a marathon.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Marathon. Carb load.
Yeah.
They call it carb loading. That is carb loading. Carb loading is to fill your muscles with as much glycogen as possible, because when you're in the act of movement, your body will not pull energy from food, because all your blood is in your muscles moving. You only have a certain amount of blood, right? That's why when you eat a big meal, that's why when you have Thanksgiving dinner, you can't go run a marathon right after. Why do you cramp up? Because all the blood is in your stomach trying to break down this food. So now you start moving muscles, there's no blood there to supply it. So what does your body do? Cramps.
Interesting.
It's all science, right? And you only have a certain amount of blood. So if you're moving a lot, it's not pulling anything from your stomach. So even if you're, oh man, you're in the middle of competition, you're eating this whole food, it's not going to use that food. It's going to use that food like later that night or maybe even the next day. It's using what's in your stored muscle glycogen. So what I would do is, because golf isn't like super high intensity, but over the span of 3 days, you should go into it fully replenished and stored with good carbohydrates. And I would just go fruit, or if you're going to go like complex carbs, high quality rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes. And you probably only need to do that 3 to 4 days before the competition. Wouldn't even be a week. It'd be like 3 to 4 days. I'd load up on fruit, and like I said, complex carbohydrates. You'll notice a difference in your energy. You might not notice it on the first day, but it'll be the second half of that second day, that third day. Because even if you eat, you're most likely going to have your first day and go, man, I need energy for tomorrow, so I'm going to go get this big dinner. If there's protein in there, it's going to take 6 to 8 hours to break down. The fat's going to slow it down. All of it's going to slow it down. And then the next day, you're not going to eat that much. So it might use that, but your body's going to first use what is stored. That's what it's going to use. That's what I would do.
Yeah. And how about recovery? Like not only the day before starting the tournament, but recovery after the rounds. Is our top priority to just chill, do the least amount of stuff possible?
Rest, lay down, rest, keep your feet up. Because your body's, like I said, it's not going to recover till you sleep. So it's like the sleep I could not even stress how important the sleep is in between those rounds.
Yeah.
Like that is so crucial. Taking a good, especially because, and I'll point out the obvious, when you have a competition the next day, it's hard to sleep.
Yes.
It's hard.
Yeah.
You're tossing and turning, and then you get in your own head and you're like, oh my God, I can't fall asleep. Yeah. And now you're moving and you're like, I just lost an hour. Now I just lost 2 hours. Right? So taking a quality sleep supplement can really help you. Really help you.
What are some supplements that are over the counter?
So obviously a classic one is going to be melatonin. Melatonin
makes me feel groggy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's easy to develop a dependency on it, and most people overdose it. So because I know that groggy feeling too. When I look at any sleep supplement and I don't have like a chronic sleep disorder, I'm going to do half the dose of whatever is recommended. Because you learn your dose, right? You got to learn your dose. So you can go, it's like biohacking it, right? You're like, okay, this is a good quality sleep supplement. It's got a little bit of melatonin in it. Maybe it's got some magnesium is huge. I think magnesium, zinc, melatonin, and you learn your dose. And it's like, well, I don't have a sleep disorder and I don't have a sleep problem. I'm just trying to get good sleep for this isolated thing. So I'm just going to do half the dose. Like I never take Tylenol. I never take over-the-counter stuff. So when I do it, I don't have a tolerance for it. So I don't need the full dose.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's what I would do. And I promise you it'll work.
Okay, let's end with that then. The the pain medications. Can we talk about it? Only because I see a lot of my friends and colleagues, players that I play with, they're taking serious amounts of Advils, ibuprofens, just to get through their golf round because they're in pain, you know? So what should be some red flags? What do we need to know about? Like, so, how much is too much? Yeah, what should we do?
Typically, chronic pain like that in isolated instances like golf, and I'll explain mine. I have a chronic issue that gets so inflamed when I golf.
Yeah.
So there's going to be two mechanisms of pain, right? It's either going to be like joint pain or it's going to be a lack of mobility. It's usually one of those two.
Okay.
I would first and foremost say mobility will keep you pain-free if it's not a joint problem.
Interesting.
If you have back pain or you have weird lower back, upper back,
hips is a big one.
People do not understand the power of mobility, right? Because, and I'll give you an example. Most people have back pain, right? Mm-hmm. They take Tylenol for a pain medication. Your back pain is caused by your hip flexors. They're too tight. When your hip flexors get tight, they rotate your hip girdle. The reason your hip flexors got tight is because your hamstrings are tight. How many people do we know with tight hamstrings?
Mostly
Most people, right? Tight hamstrings pull the hip girdle back, which stretches out your hip flexors. Now your hip flexors try to pull it back forward and they create this isolated inflammatory area, and all that pressure gets put on your back, especially because in golf, you're rotating your T-spine. Unorthodoxly rotating your T-spine, right? You're twisting your hips and bending, right? You're not just rotating this way. You're rotating this way and like this.
I've never really thought about that. The golf swing is not...
It's unorthodox for sure.
Interesting.
It's smooth. It's mechanically smooth, but it's slightly unorthodox on your spine. Think of like, and this is where I relate it back to pitching, right? Pitching a baseball looks really smooth. It is completely unorthodox to how your shoulders should move.
Yeah,
that's why softball players could pitch for 2 hours, 3 hours straight, have no arm pain. A pitcher can only throw like 120 pitches and then they have to stop because it's unorthodox, right? If golf was like this the whole time, maybe, but I mean, and T-spine mobility exercises, that will show you, that will expose to you how mobile you are. It's just, you could literally Google T-spine mobility. And there's movements where you could test your T-spine mobility. If you could increase your T-spine mobility in golf, you're going to eliminate a lot of pain. Hip mobility for sure. And then as far as joint pain, that's where instead of taking a shortcut and reducing the inflammation through pain medications, that's where you got to start looking into like glucosamine supplements. But also a big thing that's going to help your joints and your bones is like bone broth. Like drinking grass-fed bone broth, high quality fats like grass-fed butters, ghee, things like that. That's going to help bone density and it's going to help your joints. But the thing about arthritis is like, you're better off trying to prevent it because once you have it, you kind of have it, you know? Yeah.
Okay, that makes me think of TPT. I say it wrong, but you know that tea that helps with inflammation? It was like all the rave. Oh, see, if you don't know it, you might not know. It's this tea. I call it TPT, but that's not the right way you say it. You get it on Amazon or wherever, and it's been helping people with their inflammation and their pain is going away. But I hear that they're under, investigation because there's a lot of steroids in it.
Probably wouldn't be surprised.
I can't believe you haven't heard of it. I'm going to send it to you.
I probably have. I come across so many things. But the other thing I want to say too is if you have a lot of joint pain, and this is bizarre how fast this works. If you're like very susceptible to arthritis or like it's coming along, like you're aging, there could be one food that you have a slight inflammatory reaction to that you're eating every single day and you have no idea. And what is an inflammation at the joint is going to cause arthritis. It's going to cause that, right? So I recommend if you think that it could be food related, like you're very confused by it, go get a food sensitivity test because the more you eat something consistently, we were not designed to eat the same foods every day. That's why foods are seasonal. and we live in a seasonal environment.
Interesting.
Right? Mm-hmm. Certain foods are good at certain times of the year. Mm-hmm. Now, we've completely manipulated the whole food industry to have the same exact foods all year round, right? Mm-hmm. Our gut microbiome is designed for versatility. If you don't put versatile foods in your gut, your body will develop a sensitivity to the things you're eating all the time to tell you to stop eating it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I've done food sensitivity tests where they've come back, like when I was bodybuilding, and I had a sensitivity to blueberries, white rice, and oatmeal because I was eating those every single day.
Yeah.
And they were good. They were high quality, but your body needs versatility. So it could be just one isolated food that is causing inflammation in your joints. And now you're taking painkillers, which is eating away your gut.
And I would imagine you just have to reset your body, like not eat those things for a little bit.
It's easy. And you're like, oh, I just need to take that out for like 3 months. And then the sensitivity goes away. Your body wants versatility.
Interesting. Well, thanks for being on today.
You're welcome.
Can you please tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is back. My Instagram is back. So my Instagram, you could search Will Armijo. My handle is i.am.willpowered. Will Armijo on Facebook, but I'm mostly on Instagram all the time.
And then when I was on your website the other day, do you have a digital product or is it digital coaching?
Yeah. So our website for my nutrition company is called nourish.com, NRISH. Has all of our stuff on all the nutritional coaching we do. We also have a daily detox product that also has anti-inflammatory effects to it, something you could take daily. We have that on the website as well. And then I also do a lot of coaching for GLP-1 weight loss peptides.
That is a whole nother episode.
That's a whole nother episode.
Thank you, Will, for being on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Go get to the range because you're 10 days away.
10 days, the countdown.
We are going to play. I have a really fun foursome, and we actually will have a four caddy, but I get to handpick the four caddy, so we are insured.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, thanks, Will.